Hey, my name is Mr. Roate. I've been working at Clarinda for a while, and I'm just doing a promotional video to show you what exactly I do here. I do lots of different things. One is, you can see here the yearbook where I put up photos outside, and I do a 20-page spread with Jostens.com, and I take photos at all the games and meets that I possibly can go to. I go to cross country, football, basketball, and wrestling, and so forth. I have a great time with that. And I like to take photos up to a point and then cheer on the team and scream and yell just like everybody else. Hey, this is my alcove area, my entryway right into my room, where I've done caricatures up here to, draw and show students, classical artists, as well as Iowa art today. There's some Iowa artists in here. I think it's important not to know only the past, but know what is being done presently in our home state as well as in the art field. As you can tell, you can probably recognize some of the classic artists, maybe like Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo, Mexican painters, along with the Dutch post-impressionist Van Gogh. Of course, we touch on him. Andy Warhol, and even Gustav Klimt right before World War II with some historical references. The other ones you see are actually Iowa artists. A lot of them are my friends from Des Moines, or I knew them from Des Moines, done shows with them. Some is like Christopher Vance, he's a graffiti artist, along with Holly Vandenberg. She's also another artist. They're in a group called Paint Pushers. And Brent Huizenga, which his artwork is really similar to Andy Warhol, and I tag teamed together in an assignment that I do. And of course, Isabel Bloom with clay and 3D art. She may no longer be alive, but her business is still growing. So I try to incorporate that in my curriculum, in my classroom, and show them that there's people in Iowa being successful at art, and they can be successful at whatever they would like to do because of the way technology is, to use that technology to branch out and be more successful and to strive for anything that they would like to do. Hey, currently right now we are learning about face shapes in my classroom from 5th to 8th grade. And this is kind of my display board that I have stuff on. I show some of my stuff I show that I'm doing currently to help inspire them. And I show examples of past student stuff that they left here and let me use as an example of what they should be striving for in their artwork. The 5th grade is doing Gustav Klimt, so we're learning art appreciation, learning about the Bauhaus, and right before World War II. And they're learning repeated design that is not only a visual arts reference, but also graphic arts reference as well in advertising and so forth. Here's an example of me when I just started growing my beard out about a couple of years ago. Here's another one that's a great job they did with the watercolor. They were layering the colors. Wonderful repeated design is here. The 8th graders are learning a grid assignment that helps prep them for high school. If they want to further into high school, they will do a grid assignment in the high school using actual color. We're doing achromatic, and this is their practice sheets. I do a prelim process in my classroom, so they practice more than once the concepts that I'm trying to show them, so they get better at them, and when they do the final product, it normally looks a lot better. Here we've done celebrities, we do celebrities, and they take it, build a grid, and they take it chunk by chunk instead of eating the whole thing at once. They do it one chunk at a time and section it off to get the picture done. They do really good on this assignment that we're doing. The younger kids, 6 and 7, are doing a half and half. We're talking about eye placement, we're talking about symmetry, we're talking about texture in the hair, and value on all of them. So here they need to get texture of the hair, they need to make sure they have value, shadows, midtones, and highlights. And they take a celebrity, we cut it in half, and they draw the other half using artistic pens and blending stumps. Excuse me. I also like to show them stuff that I'm working on at the time too, because I'm also a practicing artist. In the summertime I go out, I go to fairs, festivals, draw characters. I try to sell my fine art where I can, how I can, and I show stuff that I'm doing. Here's a couple examples from my sketchbook that I brought in to show them that I still use form, shadows, midtones, and highlights, and I'm using all this with an ink pen, regular pens that you buy a Hy-Vee, Bic. I just buy the different colored pens and I layer my colors over top to get what it looks like a flesh tone. If you take one of those pens regularly, you just look orange or will just look yellow, but layering on top, your eye will blend them all together and you'll get a nice flesh tone. Black and whites, and I show them what I'm working on, explain it. Sometimes they get discouraged. I bring some of my really old stuff in when I first started back in 1996 at Adventureland, and I show some of my old characters where my painting wasn't the best. I wasn't the best at it, because we all start somewhere. We're not going to be the best at everything we do the first time, but it takes practice. The more hours we put in it, the better we will get. Here's even another example of a show that I did in Des Moines, especially a fairy tale show. And I talk about this one where I mention things that I don't like about it that I want to improve next piece that I do. Like, I'm not too fond of the background. I need to come up with a better way to do the background. This eye is a little bit angled to this eye, so it's not in true form. But it is a caricature, so it works. You don't see that as much if it was more of a realistic painting or a realistic drawing. This one worked out pretty well. This one was supposed to be Wicked Witch. It was a show that I did in Des Moines that was a fairy tale based. I'm always trying to get the kids striving to put out their best product, to put everything into their work, and I think they do a really good job. And here's some of the posters that I've created for my classroom. I've been told that I should probably put them on pay teachers. I got my elements of art that we go over, and here's the tech. Since we have iPads, teaching kids to make sure to be responsible with their technology, as well as handing stuff in digitally, because everything is going digitally. Got inspirational quotes, as you can see. Here, as I have my how to get permission, I use different like sign language to have kids ask questions so I can be quicker at knowing what they need and getting them what they need, other than having to ask and having to go through a verbal communication. This is all kind of scene communication. I can give them an okay if they need to get supplies, if they need me to double check their work, or they need to simply use the restroom. More inspirational quotes. I have some of my anti-bully, anti-teasing posters that I created. I need to redo this one. It's not perfect, but I tell kids that how to, instead of insulting someone else's work or trying to help but not sound like you're really helping, you're criticizing, being overcritical, to first say a positive and suggest something that they can do differently, and then that's up to them to change it. And if they're mad about something, try to use I statements so that they don't have an argument. They can quell an argument and come to better communication to where they have more conflict resolution. Here's how to win attention in my room. You win attention. I don't give it to you. You win it. So you can see anti-bullying, get out of the seat, throw anything. And then my general classroom rules: stay in seat, work on your art, raise your hand, be prepared, and take risks. You can see I have Rocky posters. I do love the Rocky movies. I think it's a pretty inspirational quote. And this is where I house all my stuff, and I have everything zoned to my specifications for paper, colors, and everything else. Everything is pretty well organized in there. So thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little impromptu video that I did, showing you what I do here at the school and what I normally do in the day and how I am as an art teacher in my classroom. There's lots of different things that I do other than yearbook and teach art in elementary and in middle school. One of the things I do is I do all on my own is I run a club after school. It's a gaming club that we play games, card games, to help those kids have a more positive connection with the school, and they got to have a certain grade point average in order to play, so it helps them with their grades academically. Some of them actually strive to get better grades so they can come play these games at the school. Most of the games I provide and I pay for have extra decks, extra dice, and so forth, So if they want to learn risk-free, they can come in and I can show them how to play, and they can continue it if they want to. It's volunteer based. I've also been on different committees. I've been on negotiations team, PLC, PBIS, on those committees in the past.